The wind was biting cold at the city train station that night. Crowds moved in waves, each person in a hurry to get somewhere warmer, safer, more familiar. Amid the restless footsteps and metallic echoes, a young woman named Emily Carter sat alone on a hard wooden bench. Her coat was old, frayed at the edges, and her shoes were thin against the icy ground. In her hands she clutched her worn-out purse, inside of which lay a single $10 bill. That was all she had left in the world. Emily's life had been unraveling for months. She had lost her job at a bookstore when it shut down, and the little savings she had were eaten up by rent, overdue bills, and medical expenses for her mother, who was ill back in her hometown. Tonight, Emily was waiting for the cheapest late-night train so she could return home. She had already bought her ticket, leaving her with just $10. That small bill represented both comfort and survival. It was the money she planned to use for a small meal and perhaps a bus ride from the station to her mother's house. As she sat silently, watching people pass by with bags of shopping and steaming cups of coffee, she fought back tears. She had always been strong, always believed life would turn around, but at that moment she felt invisible, insignificant in a world that seemed too busy to care. Just then a man stumbled into the station. He looked disheveled, his coat wrinkled, his shoes scuffed, and his eyes weary. His name was Michael Grant, though Emily didn't know that yet. To her, he was just another traveler, maybe even a homeless man. Michael walked toward the vending machines, patted his pockets, and frowned. He searched again, pulled out his wallet, and sighed loudly. Empty. He turned, scanning the station, his face marked with both embarrassment and exhaustion. Emily watched him. She could have looked away. She could have told herself it wasn't her problem. After all, she barely had enough for herself. But something inside her stirred, a voice she couldn't ignore. The man approached timidly. "Excuse me, miss," he said, his voice low and rough. I hate to ask, but I lost my wallet earlier today. I just need a few dollars to get something to eat. I promise if you give me your address, I'll pay you back." Emily looked at him carefully. His eyes weren't threatening, just tired. His hands trembled slightly. Whether from the cold or from shame, she couldn't tell. Her fingers brushed the inside of her purse, feeling the edge of that last $10 bill. A war began inside her heart. If she gave it away, she'd have nothing. No food, no safety cushion, just a train ride and hunger. But she remembered her mother's words from childhood. If you have enough to share, even when it feels like you don't, life will find a way to return it to you. Emily pulled the bill from her purse and held it out with a small smile. "Here, it's not much, but it should be enough for a sandwich and coffee." The man's eyes widened. "Are you sure? You don't even know me." She nodded. "I don't need to know you. Sometimes people just need a little kindness." For a moment, Michael was speechless. He took the bill with shaky hands, his throat tightening. "Thank you," he whispered almost to himself. "You have no idea what this means." Emily just smiled faintly and turned her gaze back to the clock. Her train would arrive in 20 minutes. Michael disappeared toward the cafe. Emily thought little of it, pushing the moment aside. She was used to giving more than she received. When the train finally arrived, Emily boarded with the other weary travelers. She found a seat near the window, hugging her coat tighter. The train rocked forward, carrying her away from the city lights and toward the dark countryside. Half an hour later, footsteps approached her seat. She looked up, and to her surprise, it was the same man, Michael, only now. He didn't look quite the same. His coat seemed less ragged, his shoulders straighter, his eyes sharper. "Mind if I sit?" he asked. Emily hesitated, then nodded. He sat across from her, leaning forward. "I didn't want to leave without talking to you again. What you did back there, it wasn't small. It was everything." Emily shrugged softly. "It was just $10. He shook his head. "No, it was compassion. Most people turned away from me. You didn't." There was a pause. Emily studied him, curious now. Something about him didn't quite add up. His voice carried authority, like someone who had once been in command. His hands, though rough, bore a gold watch, simple but undeniably expensive. "Can I tell you something?" he asked. "Sure," Emily replied cautiously. "I wasn't exactly honest with you earlier. I didn't lose my wallet. I have more money than I could ever spend in a lifetime. In fact, I own one of the largest investment firms in the city." Emily blinked, stunned. She thought he was joking. "Then, why were you at the station like that?" Michael's eyes softened. I've been struggling not with money but with faith in people. For years, I've wondered if anyone still helps without expecting something in return. Tonight I decided to see for myself. I dressed down, left everything behind, and walked into that station like a man with nothing. And you were the only one who gave me a chance. You gave away the last bit of what you had. That's something no money can buy. Emily's lips parted, words failing her. She wanted to protest, to tell him she didn't need a lecture or pity. But his sincerity was undeniable. As the train sped through the night, Michael continued, I want to repay your kindness, not with $10, but with an opportunity. Emily shook her head quickly. No, please. I didn't do it expecting anything back. I know, he said gently. That's why it matters. But listen, I run a foundation that helps people rebuild their lives. We provide housing, jobs, training, real second chances, and I want you to be part of it. In fact, I'd like to offer you a job at one of my companies. I can see in your eyes. You're determined, resilient, compassionate. Those are the people I want around me. Emily's heart pounded. Was this real? Could a simple act of kindness change everything? I don't even know what to say, she whispered. Say yes, Michael replied with a smile. Tears welled in her eyes. Yes. Weeks later, Emily's life was unrecognizable. Michael had kept his word. She was working at his publishing division, a job that not only paid well but reignited her passion for books. She moved her mother into better care, paid off debts, and began to dream again. One afternoon, as she sat in her new office overlooking the city skyline, Emily thought back to that cold night at the station. She still kept the memory of the $10 bill, not because of what it bought, but because of what it meant. Sometimes the smallest act of kindness, given when you have almost nothing left, can open doors you never imagined. Emily's story spread quietly at first, then widely. People spoke of the girl who gave away her last $10, not knowing she was helping a millionaire rediscover faith in humanity. The truth was simple: kindness multiplies. One act had changed two lives, hers and his. And every time Emily saw a stranger in need, she remembered the night she almost walked away, but didn't. Because sometimes, destiny hides behind a simple choice to give.